to Adrian.
Well, welcome to Beyond the Art. We're at the 103rd Santa Fe Indian Art Market. I'm the host, Craig Beaumont Flynn, with
Joe Williams, the co-host.
And today we have Robert Allen, one of the recipients.
Robert Albert.
Albert. I'm
Yes.
so sorry. Robert Albert, one of the winning recipients of this year's Best of Show in your own category.
Thank you.
Well, tell us a little bit about yourself and the category that you were awarded.
Well, I'm Hopi, and I'm from the village of Monkopi, and I've been an artist or doing art since I was about 13 years old. And as a profession, this has been my 35th year. And it's currently 28 years in Santa Fe Indian Market.
Fantastic.
And I've won the category of Kachina carving or wooden Pueblo carvings 4 different times. So this will be my 4th time this show. And I enjoy what I do. I do a contemporary Kachina carving, which is made out of the root of a cottonwood tree. And that's what I'm known for. I'm known for a sculptural style. Well, I'll have more than one figure in one carving. And so it's just a process of challenging myself, because the type of work that I do, I always basically do the same character, which are Pueblo clowns. So the people that collect my work, I always try to make them a new situation every time that the clowns are doing, because unlike Kachinas are spirits, and they represent a specific thing in the world: plant, animal, other tribes, forces of nature. And the way they're decorated and what they wear and how they're painted has to be done a certain way each time to make them recognizable. And so for the clowns, there is no rules to them. They can do anything and they can make fun of anything, and there is no rules to them. So that's why I enjoy doing the clown carvings.
Well, you have an immense new fan. I mean, when I walked in the room, I was like, I got to have that. This is so spectacular, and so the artistry that you put into it. And I'm sure the time, it's beyond creative.
Thank you.
So what inspired this piece in particular?
Well, more than 5 years ago, I always had this idea, and I've always tried to come up with a different concept every year or every carving. And I always wanted to do clowns falling. And the problem was I wanted it to look like they were free falling through space. So I had done clowns before on houses, ladder. And so I remembered a story that when these particular clowns, which are called white cloud clowns, when they come into a Kachina dance, and generally that's when you'll see clowns, is during a Kachina dance. And when they find the leader of the Kachinas or the chief of the Kachinas, they introduce themselves and where they came from. And so these particular clowns will say, "We came from the clouds," and then they'll point up to the sky. That's where we came from. And so that's where the idea for this particular carving came from.
Is that why the very top figure is reaching for this?
Yeah, well, he's about ready to jump off.
Oh, okay.
And all the rest are in different, have the different facial expressions of fear and happiness and impact of hitting on the ground.
So it's almost like a transition of their excitement or their celebration. From the
exactly.
Okay.
So as right now, the piece is untitled, and at the show, someone said, "Hey, why don't you call it Kicked Out of Heaven?" So I thought that was kind of humorous. So
because the cloud right in the middle, right?
Yeah. So that represents they're up in the sky.
Well, how does your piece connect to your cultural heritage or your own personal story as an artist?
Well, Kachina carving is something that I've always been fascinated ever since I was a little kid. And growing up in the villages where they have the ceremonies, you can't get help but get wrapped up into it. And you're emulating what you see, the dances, the sounds that they make, and what they do and how they look. And so from that experience, I've always been drawn to the art form of Kachina doll carving. And my grandmother, when I used to spend the summers out there, I grew up in Monkopi till I was 3 years old. And then my parents, through job opportunities, went down to Phoenix. But I would always spend all my vacation time up on the Hopi Reservation, and that's how I became initiated into the Kachina Society, and that's how I learned about the different culture and the different spirits that there are. And so one thing that my grandmother would do is weekly, there was a trading post there that was a combination trading post and grocery store. It was called Margaret Kilgore's. And so people would go there and they would trade their artwork to get money so they could buy groceries. And so you would walk in there and there'd be hundreds and hundreds of Kachina dolls on the walls. And I would tell my grandmother, go ahead and go shopping. I'm just going to stand here and look at them. And I just was totally hypnotized and drawn to the media. And I've always done art since I was a little kid, drawing and such things like that, but never really took it serious until after I graduated from high school. But I've been carving since I was 13 years old.
Wow. Is there like a detail to the technique or the materials that you use that makes your work unique?
As far as style, it's a multi-figure sculptural style that I do. Other artists will do, 2 or 3, but I've done as many as 7 in a carving. So the first part that's the biggest obstacle is finding a large piece of wood to accompany the different ideas that I do. So I always come up with the idea first, and then I look for a piece of wood that I can manufacture that in.
I mean, that piece is such on a grand scale. I'm sure there's a lot of challenges because you're working with natural materials. What challenges did you have to overcome? And as you're creating the piece, did it start speaking to you to tell you the direction it wanted it to go?
Well, first of all, the piece of wood that I have was originally 6 foot tall. And I cut 2 feet off of it. And I used a chainsaw, which I've never used before, and just to block out the edges of it. And then I use a variety of different grinding tools, some with a bigger motor on it, some with a smaller motor on it to get to the general shape of it. Then I start using straight knives and gouges to do all the carving. So the difficulty in it was the scale and the amount of wood that I had to take away in order to get to the main subject. So it took me 2 years from beginning to end.
For that piece?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I really felt like I was chained to that thing. And other, I have other orders from different collectors, and people were talking to me about doing carvings for them. I said, I can't do anything until this is done. So I was very fortunate that I finished it in time to enter into the market this year, because sometimes I'll work and work and work, and I won't finish it in time. I'll be sitting there in my booth with an unfinished piece.
And we'll make sure we put images of that piece on our website and our social media, because once you see it, it's like, wow. At least,
thank you.
I mean, I was amazed.
Thank you. Yeah.
So what does winning this category at the market mean to you personally?
Like I said, I've won 3 previous times the category, and then this is the 4th time. My whole intention for about 15 years was to win Best of Show. And I came close one time, and it was between my piece and another piece. And at that time I had added I was doing Kashari clowns. I don't know if you're familiar with that figure, but they have horns on their head. And so in order for me to not have the headache of trying to carve the horns onto this multi-figure piece, I added them on. And so I was told by my cousin, Kevin Kwani, that was the deciding factor that chose the other artists over me. And then I'm like, later, I'm like, hey, you're supposed to be my relative. You're supposed to help me, Yeah. So the judges came over to me the next day, and they told me what had happened. And I thought, you know what? I had a shot to win Best of Show. With this piece, I definitely have a good chance of winning it. So that was my goal.
But still, 4 times is pretty remarkable.
Yes.
You'll get there.
Yes.
Lucky number 5?
We'll see. Never on that scale again. That's one thing for sure.
Is there someone, an elder, mentor, or family member that you dedicate this award to? That really someone that you can want to say?
Well, a lot of my, and I'll tell you the truth, when I was younger, I was mischievous and got into a lot of trouble, and all the way through high school. And there was a point in time where I said, you know what, I got to change my ways and go on the right path. And so art was always one thing that my relatives, uncles, aunts, grandparents, siblings, cousins, they all admired my artwork. And they would always encourage me to carry on that tradition and not give it up. And so sometimes it gets pretty bad where you don't make any sales, and things don't come out the way they do, or life gets in the way, and you have to put it aside for a while. But I always told myself that, you got to keep going no matter what, and carry on, and you're only as good as your last piece.
Right. That's very true. Well, being a recipient 4 times, what do you want to convey to the general artist community, and also being an Indigenous Native American, and what this means to you and what it should mean to all of us?
Well, being a Hopi, our life is art. Everything that we do, singing, dancing, creating, everyday life, farming, our chores that we do every day, the baking and cooking, and somebody's always singing a Hopi song, and there's always things hanging on the wall to remind you of who we are, and there's always a certain way that things are done. So my art form is dedicated to all the young children, to install in them what was installed in me when I was a child, to be proud of who you are and to carry on this tradition and maybe take it to another place. And that's what I tried to do. Because generally the style that was out there when I was growing up were single figures, but yet there was artists out there that were doing very, very decorative and intricate pieces, like Cecil Kaunimtiwa, Alvin James Makya was another one, and Neil David, from which I loved his humor and his pieces that he did. And I saw those pieces when I was about 13, 14 in Arizona highways, and there was like sugar packets with their dolls on it and stuff like that, and placemats and stuff, so I saw that, and like I said, I've always been drawn to Kachina carving, and that just kind of said, I wish I could do something like that, and maybe one day, I'll be known for doing carvings like that. And so that's the contemporary form of carving. And sad to say that style of carving is slowly fading out. The collectors today are collecting the traditional Kachina dolls, which are made out of feather and leather and hair. And the elders are very happy with that. They said, this is the way it's supposed to be. It's not supposed to be these wild carvings or realistic carvings. They're meant to teach the children about the different spirits, and that's how it's meant to be. So I wanted, as an artist, I wanted to stand out, because you're competing against all these other Kachina carvers, and there's some great ones that Alfred Lamakuhu was one that I really admired, and there's Arthur Holmes. There's another one too. I can't remember quite his name, but they have the unique style of creating intricate pieces where you see strings, veins in their hands, the foldings of the cloth, and they're way above me. I give them praise, and every time I see their work, I'm amazed by what they can do. And so this is my way of competing with them, because I'm doing something that I think they can't do, which is the multi-figure sculptures.
Well, my friend, you deserve much praise yourself. So
thank you.
Before we wrap up, you got anything else, Joe, you want to ask?
One question, but I also wanted to mention that I was really taken by the form of the figures moving through the space there, but the expressions on their faces, quite an achievement, and it really stood out to me. And it's not something I've seen in a lot of carvings before. And so props to you for being able to create something like that, as successful as it was.
And I'm glad you brought that up, because that is the focus of my artwork. And I went to school at Institute of American and Indian Arts way back in '86. I graduated, and it was only a 2-year program then, so I only have a associate's degree. But I was trying to become a painter back then and emulate the Pueblo style of painting Kachina ceremonies and that type of thing. But I was always carving, like I said, since I was 13, and that is my focal point as an artist, to create realistic faces. And then if you look at the structure of it, one thing leads to another, and that's where my background in painting comes from, because you have a grid, and so it shows your eyes where to follow.
That's right.
And then you also have hidden details, so you might see it one time, then look at it again, and, hey, I never noticed that. I always thought about putting in like messages or something like secret, like a mouse or something. Maybe my wife's initial with a heart around, or something, or my name, is hidden somewhere in the piece, but I've never done anything like that. But thank you for pointing that out.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you for coming and stopping by and spending a few moments with us. Again, congratulations on
Thank
number
you.
4.
Thank you.
I look forward to seeing you next year with number 5.
I appreciate the cheering section.
And we'll be right back at the 103rd Santa Fe Indian Art Market. And thank you to our friends here at Georgia O'Keeffe Museum for letting us put in today's podcast studio to get to you. Thank you.
Thank you. All right.
Well, welcome back to Beyond the Art at the 103rd Santa Fe Indian Art Market. We're located here in our improv studio at the Georgia O'Keeffe Museum. And today we have one of the winning recipients of Best of Show, Lola Cody, I'm sorry.
It's best of classification.
Best of classification, okay, for
Yes.
textiles, correct?
Yes.
Well, welcome and congratulations.
Thank you.
So, what inspired the creation of your piece that you entered at this show?
My inspiration is from, my overall inspiration is from my mom and my grandma because they're both weavers. So that's where I learned how to weave, by watching them. And then for this particular piece, it's a 2 gray heels that's made out of all churro natural colored wool, no dyes involved. So I raised the sheep. I have the sheep at home, and then I tend to them, every day. So that's what inspired me.
You get them
And
fat and furry?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, and then I shear them in the spring, and then from there I spin the wool and I clean it and use it in my weavings.
I mean, it's such an exquisite piece, and it's immense in size. How big is it?
It's 8 by 15 feet.
I have a perfect room for it. Well, congratulations. And what does this mean to you to win this award at SWAIA?
As an artist, myself, I attend Santa Fe Indian Market and then the Hurt Museum. So throughout the year, we look forward to making something for the market, something that we think hopefully will stand out. And this is a piece that I started a couple of years ago. And I wanted to finish for the market, Santa Fe Market. So all summer I sat at it every day, and I did a quota for myself, set a quota for myself. I said, this is how much I'm going to do every day. And I had to stick to that. And when I say I sat at it, I didn't go anywhere. We sat at home. my husband would ask me, "So what are we doing today?" I said, "I'm weaving today." So, I had to finish it in time
Right.
to enter it.
So when you're in your room and you're working with your setup, do you have music, or is there TV on in the background, or what occupies your space while you're working?
Yeah. What makes you zone out and just kind of dedicate yourself to what you need to do?
I have a TV on in the background, which I hardly listen to.
Just background noise.
Yeah.
Yeah. During the creation of this piece, was there a moment that felt especially powerful or emotional for you that came through?
I'm going to get emotional. My mom passed away in February. Every time I see her, she would ask me, "Did you finish your rug?"
So you dedicate the piece to her?
I would say I dedicated her.
Moms can be a little strict. Get it done. Get to work.
Yeah.
Well, that's beautiful. That's
Yeah,
absolutely.
she never forgot that. She had dementia, but she never forgot that I was weaving that piece. She would ask me every day, every time I see her, "Did you finish your rug?"
That's beautiful.
So sorry for your loss.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's having family around and inspiring us to do the work. It really helps us move forward, and it really makes these things special. And it comes through your piece. I mean, you walk in there, and it's the presence in the room there. Absolutely.
It is striking. When you were creating the piece, what's the connection for you to as an Indigenous Native American woman artist? How do you connect to that, and what do you see? Is the design already preset in your mind, or does it talk to you as you're creating to the movement of where it needs to go?
As a Navajo woman, we do what we can for our family, and that's something that I do. I was raised with the sheep. I was raised with all that wool around me as I was growing up. So through the years, I did what I could to take it further by, coming up with the different colors that I had mentioned. And I worked at it every day, just trying to do what I can, even though they're just basic. People probably look at it as just basic sheep's wool. But when I'm sharing, I always say, "This is a pretty color. This is pretty wool." But I see it through my eyes. It's different.
So in the design and geometric shapes that you've incorporated into this piece, are those indicative to your tribe, and what do they mean?
The design is a 2 Gray Hill, and the traders around the 2 Gray Hills area and the Navajo Reservation, that's what they told their weavers to make that style. So that's why it's called a 2 Gray Hills, with the black, white, gray, and the brown. So since I have the colors, I said, why not make the same design out in our area, even though I'm not from 2 Gray Hills.
Is this how many times have you been at market?
I've been coming since 1988.
That's a little bit.
So I won in 2014, I think it was, that I made an 8x14, and I won. That's when I won Best of Show for that rug. But this one is an 8x15.
Is there something about your technique that makes your work unique? Is there something special that you do that's really just that you do?
I think it's just the colors that I use, and then in my weavings, weavers have different styles of weaving. Like mine is I guess tight weaving. Some people have real light weaving where the rug is usually very flimsy if they're not very tight woven, and this one is usually stiff.
And you had mentioned you didn't dye the
no
colors
dyes
for this,
in there.
and so there's little variations if you look close enough. You were
Yes,
talking about that.
yes, the brown and the grays.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Sometimes as an artist and you're working with natural materials, kind of gives you problems. Were there any particular challenges? I mean, you said about 2-3 years you started this.
Yeah, 2 years.
Were there any challenges or hurdles in the road that you had to overcome as you started to create?
Once I started with my browns, I ran out of color, the color that I was using from one particular sheep. Then I had to go and look for similar colors, but I had it.
You had the sheep?
Yeah.
He was there? Or she was there?
The sheep wasn't there, but the wool was there.
So do you see your work as sort of part of a larger conversation in the community? And what do you hope people take away from what you create?
That you can use, what you raise, like your sheep. And you can use the wool. Because my late grandfather used to always say, if you take care of your animals will take care of you. That's the same line. That I use my animals' fleece and they give back to me. They take care of me by that.
In spending such a large amount of time on one piece, do you do a piece and then finish and then go to the next one, or do you work on multiple pieces simultaneously?
Well, with this particular pieces, I go to 2 shows per year, and if I didn't have a piece for the show that I was going to, I had to make something, because I pay entry fees and all that.
Correct,
so I have to have something
to sell.
Yeah.
Provide.
So what does winning this category at the Santa Fe Indie Market mean to you personally?
That I'm rewarded for my hard work. All the stress that I went through, especially the last few months.
Well,
I used to, when I weave, I used to kind of take my time. I used to have a lot of help, especially from my husband. He used to do, take care of the animals and do all the feeding. But he's got Parkinson's and it's progressed, so I have to tend to him, I have to tend to the animals, and then just around the home. Although we get help from our kids,
Have you seen, being an artist and participating in other art markets, a resurgence of Native Indigenous people actually creating stuff that have such depth and meaning, like your piece?
I guess it would depend on each artist, what they feel like, they're, what I guess people would say, what's talking to them, what's communicating the good vibes to them,
Right. I think a lot of artists feel that way, that when they're creating, the piece speaks to them. Sometimes it doesn't end up the way they have it in the mind, because the piece, especially with, ceramics, but I assume also in textiles,
Yes.
you have that as well.
Yeah.
So what do you do? Say no?
No, depending on, if I think it's going to work, I go with it.
So what's next for you now?
Rest.
Is there a new project that's on the horizon for you?
I have several projects, but I don't have anything right now.
Okay.
I think I deserve a short break.
I think so.
Well, again, your piece is spectacular, and congratulations again on today's win and accolades for being recognized for all your hard work.
Yeah, thank you.
We'll be right back with Beyond the Art.
Is there anywhere I look?
Just at that camera.
Okay.
Welcome back to Beyond the Art, and today we have Santiago Romero, one of the other recipients of today's Best of Show in the category of 2D.
2D, yeah.
Well, congratulations.
Yeah, no, it's really humbling overall, I think. I mean, you have imposter syndrome your whole life, and then finally it's like, not that I need it, or it just feels to be seen. You know, it's nice to be seen in a family that does it and continues to keep on doing really good work, and I don't know, just honored to, like, in the same with all the people that were there today. I can't, like, be more grateful.
So what inspired the creation of this piece?
Well, I had been at the Ameren, and I took up a residency in October, and I just, like, I had time to actually work, and it's sad that, like, I go after India market, and then I do all the mailing, I do all the paintings, I try to finish the commissions, and then I have to do more projects and keep momentum, and then I do grants and I do residencies, and it's unfortunate that we get in this cycle of having to, like, keep on going after the next, change, and put that in the bank account and roll that over and show up. And so when I do get residencies, it's like, like, at least I'm getting paid. At least I'm getting paid to work, and I get to, like, it's not to sell to somebody or for a show.
I would assume that the stress level, because you know where that income is coming from, and it's more secured than doing and submitting for art markets on an ongoing basis. Now, when you start thinking about presenting or having pieces at an art market, do you have that already in your head of what you're going to create? Because if I got it right, that piece that you got awarded for today took you 2 months?
No, 2 days.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
You're talented. Never mind.
Well, there's a lot of pressure too, right? It's with the style of impasto painting that I am doing, you only get those smooth blends if you're in a day and a half, or else the colors particularly that you're using, some of the darker colors or like yellows, they dry really quickly. So when you go over the next day, after that second day, it starts to tack up, and it doesn't smooth, and it jumps, and you don't get the clean blends that you're like looking at. And, like, so with that, it's like, how many times have you done this style of painting? And this time I was more prepared to put, like, my complex blends out and know which ones I was gonna hit. And I think at that point, you're like, it may have been 2 days, and there's a lot of pressure because it's just blank. Like, I don't use a reference or use a particular place I've been in. They're all places I've hiked, like Zion or Dragoon or Cochise Mountains or these hills up here. It's like, which ones did you catalog today at morning or sunlight? Like, which colors did you choose? And now in this one, I think it was the complexity of the colors that I chose to do and take my time to blend different ones, instead of like, oh, I guess I'll just start painting and mix as I go. I was like, oh no, you need, like, each set mixed and the amount, like, and so you're using a lot of paint, which is like, I don't know if I'm going to use all that paint, or I might made too little. And then you run out of that blend, and it's like, you can't make that blend again. Like, that color's gone if you use it. Because once you try to, like, remake it, it's just never the same.
Right.
And I imagine too, with a 2-day limit on what you're working on, there's a rhythm that's going on too, and you don't want to break that rhythm.
Oh no, you're like, you go to sleep and you're still kind of like, well, what did I miss? Like, do I need, like, and then it's like, do I take that big risk and add another color? Because where am I going to use that color? Like, if you look at the white and, like, there's one blue mark, it's like, this one's one dark mark, and it's gonna, like, if I hit this, it's either gonna make it from here to here, or it's gonna go from here to, that shit don't make sense.
Right.
And people don't feel it, right?
Yeah.
And it's just like that Johnny Cash line. It's like, if you're not taking those risks though, like, what's the point of my music? You know, if you don't feel it, why am I making it?
Yeah.
If I don't feel it.
Yeah.
And I remember explaining to like 2 days after, or like not two, I was feeling it 2 days after, like, oh man, like the color sophistication, like that's what it changed. And I was like, yeah, you know, it's the sophistication of the color palette now. But it was also a time to like produce, and that Maynard Dixon skyline, like I learned that in October. And I started practicing that.
So when you're creating that piece and it's from your own collection of experiences, what are you trying to connect to the piece, to the audience and those that view it? Is it something more cultural, or is there a personal story that you're trying to tie into it?
Well, I mean, with all that motion and abstraction, you know, I avoided so much of landscape because I thought it was like a cop out or a punk move, because I was into more contemporary and I had an urban upbringing, and I did participate a lot here, but it was like that of evoking emotion through expression and impressionism and showing people my instincts, right? Like, you don't know where to put this line when there's a blank canvas and I'm not referencing a specific place. Like, so it's like, well, how do you do that? And it's like, with color. Like, I'm going to do it with color, and I make this flow pattern like a song, or it's also my personality. Like, my Indian name is Putruits, and I was initiated over in Coach T a little while back, and that's what they gave me, you know. And I was like, lightning is the motif. Like, if you can express moments of light, and like in all my paintings, you'll always see the titles of light, pastel arches, blue light, you know, there's always a reference towards different types of light. And when I was saying, like, in that explanation of the piece, it's the arches meeting in the morning and in the day, the sunset, right? And those moments where they're kind of like crossing paths, it's the same light, right? And it's like the light of the day is ending, but the light of the morning is starting. And, you know, that's where the sun sits. That's where, you know, also like one of my greatest like inspirations comes from, just, you know, hoping that this thing protects me just as it's protected everyone else, and gives me a gift.
So as an artist, what's next for you? What's after this?
Funny enough, I go to Texas on Tuesday, and I start an MFA program next week.
Congratulations.
And yeah, so I'm going to be a Red Raider at Texas Tech and do a 3 to 5 year stint in their program.
Oh, great.
Wow.
Yeah.
Congratulations on that as well.
Yeah.
So winning this award today, what did it mean to you? And what does it mean to you as an artist and as an Indigenous Native American?
I mean, it's all of it. It is like being a part of the places that I'm from, and knowing some of the names, and participating and doing the hard days, and on plazas, and getting evergreens, or taking cold plunges when we have to, or not sleeping and doing dances. And it's like, you see that moment, and it's like, I know I can do this. And then, you know, it's nice to be in a family that does it, and finally also like kind of like, hey, I'm thank you, you know, for all of it.
Well, Santiago, congratulations again on your award today, and thank you for coming by and saying a little something and telling us about your story.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah, it was wonderful. That went wow.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Welcome back to Beyond the Art, and today we're with the youth winner of this year's Santa Fe Indian Art Market. Welcome to the show.
Hello, my name's Naskla. I'm Tlingit from Juneau, Alaska, but I live in Anchorage.
So winning today's award, what does that mean to you as an aspiring youth artist?
It's really special to me because since I was little, my mom's an artist, so I've always grown up with the booths and the other art kids. So I would always sleep under the table or explore around the booths, what everyone else is doing. So it's surprising and exciting at the same time that now I'm on the opposite end of that spectrum where I'm the artist behind the table now.
Even welcome to the table. You're part of the club.
Yeah, in this first place right out the gate.
I know.
This is my first year, and especially as a 14-year-old just starting out, it's really surprising and exciting for me.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So what was it like for you standing up on stage and seeing all of your art community out there?
It was like, because there's people I knew out there, it was comforting, but also like really like overwhelming because you're like on a huge stage talking to like many people and it's just it was overwhelming, but I was really glad to tell other people about from my perspective of what I'm doing.
Well, growing up in the art world and your mom being an artist, how did you begin finding your own voice and the type of artistry you wanted to actually create and pursue?
Well, that's kind of a hard question, but basically my mom, she's a skin sewist, so I'd always like sleep on the sealskin or just feel it, or I would always dig into her bead drawers and like just scramble with it, see what happens, you know. But I think when I truly started like finding my own style was when I started crocheting. I really loved textiles, but I wasn't really sure how to express that in another way. But then I found weaving and raven's tail, which is where I truly found myself in the artistry. I decided, hey, I can do this. I can pursue this, but how do I do it? So through this art piece, my entry this year, I want to express what I truly enjoyed, but also have my culture in there and in my own style though.
As you were creating this piece, was there a moment where something felt inspiring or emotional to you as you were creating this piece?
I think it was just processing the skin. I was processing black cod. What was emotional to me was when we were cutting it off, the actual meat, and we were making fish and chips. So that was like a moment I was like, wow, I'm going to eat this and I'm also going to share it as a piece of art, which it kind of touched me in a certain way.
I think being an Indigenous Native American, that's part of our ancestry that we didn't dispose of. You know, what we cooked, what we ate, we also used in our art forms and everyday utensils and everything else. Were there any challenges that you had to overcome, even though you probably were taught a lot as in a young age being around the art world? Were there any challenges that you had to really kind of work out yourself?
What do you mean by that? Like emotional or just?
With just the materiality that you work with.
I think it was the hardest part was like, because I was making for the lid, I was making a little cedar hat, and I was I think like almost a year ago. Wow, a year ago, I made a full size hat, and that took me like a week. But then when I was working with a smaller, I realized this is a lot harder because even though it's smaller, it doesn't take as much material. It's still, you have huge hands and you have to work it all around. And I had to have my mom like hold a part of it because there's just so many strands and pieces just flying all over the place. And I would say also like tanning the material, black cod as
Mhm.
well. But that was because that's more like, what's the word? Like, you have to be like a part of it. Like
Okay.
you have to check on it every hour, every
Mhm.
day, and you can't leave it alone until it's finished.
Because of the natural material it is, and it kind of starts transforming, or
Well, you have to tan it, so it can be in certain thing for like only a couple days or a couple of hours. For me, I did the egg tanning,
Mhm.
so every single day I would have to pull it out of the fridge and then like stretch it so it wouldn't get all hard and it would be flexible. So I would have to stay home every day to make sure I would still be around the fish and do
Right.
it. Yeah.
Wow.
So my whole schedule worked around that fish. If something went wrong with the fish, I had to stay home, call my friends. Sorry, I can't do that right now.
Wow.
Do you see your work as part of the larger cultural conversation,
Oh.
especially in this area?
In my culture, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because I'm working with cedar weaving, also tanning hides. So that's very cultural in my Tlingit.
And what's the message you want to put out there from your work, or what do you want people to take away from your work?
I think for this specific piece, I want people to take away that you can be cultural, but you can still bring your own type of cultural in there. Like, of course, respect your culture, but also work around today's era and how you see today's era into your culture and work that into it.
Yeah, because you could be traditional, but still have a contemporary take on it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And being 14,
Yeah.
what does this award mean to you? I mean, that your first entry at 14 to the Santa Fe Indian Art Market. I mean, that must be just, I would be ecstatic and not be able to sit still. But I mean, you have such a creative talent already. What does it mean to you, and where are you going to go with it?
It was astonishing. I honestly didn't expect much from this piece. I just wanted to put something. And I was like getting first place, like first time entering. I was like, wow. It was overwhelming and mind blowing, but I was so ecstatic.
I bet.
Yeah. And for the future, well, last November, I believe. No, October. My mom and we harvested baleen from a beach whale back in Anchorage. And I'm hoping to use that later on for this winter, work that into a new piece, maybe even a new entry. Who knows?
So Santa Fe, your very first show altogether?
This is my first show where I actually have inventory.
Okay.
But my mom, she's been doing this before I was born. So I've always been like playing with other kids, or maybe going under the table, playing with my cat, or watching a movie. But so I wouldn't say this is my first show. This is my first show where I'm selling something.
Right.
Yeah.
Is there someone that you would want to dedicate this award to?
My mom, absolutely. Okay. Because without her, I wouldn't be learning this stuff. I wouldn't be learning how to tan hides or how to weave or any of that without her.
And what's her name?
My mom's name, her name is Shaksani. And I'm sorry. My mom's name is Shaksani, and I'm just so happy and grateful for her and her guidance through the years, helping me create my own style, create how to learn, how to express myself through art.
That's fantastic.
Two people have talked about their moms today, and it's just like, it's getting to me. Yeah. I'm not trying to do a Barbara Walters or Oprah thing, so I think we're trying to stay away from that. So down the road as a young artist, where do you see your art kind of speaking, and what do you want to say to the audience of who you are as a Native American Indigenous artist?
Well, I see myself through the future. I would say I would go through more textiles, but also maybe lean towards more skin sewing, but also weaving as well, just like in this piece I have. And as for what I want to say to the people watching, I just want to say I'm happy to see you this weekend. and I hope to also see you guys in later next SWAIA too.
Absolutely. Well, I think you're going to be a participant in SWAI for many, many years to come. And congratulations.
Thank you.
It's so well deserved, and it's such an inspiration to see someone at your age creating such magnificent pieces. So
Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
we'll be right back with Beyond the Art. Well, welcome back to Beyond the Art. We're here at the 103rd Santa Fe Indian Art Market. In our today's podcast studio is brought to you from the Georgia O'Keeffe Museum.
So welcome so much for sitting down with us. Can you introduce yourself, please?
Thank you. My name is Janalee Valencia. I'm from the Pueblo of San Felipe.
And you won one of the categories today here at SWAIA.
Yes.
Yes. So what inspired you to create this piece?
Well, this piece inspired me was from my parents. You know, I've learned a lot from them over the years. I would say 30 plus years. I used to help them when I was in high school. They used to make us they used to make me help them because they've been in the SWAIA community doing this for I would say 50 years. Yeah, so
Wow.
my mother is a very inspiration person to me because she's won a lot of awards from SWAIA. So the pieces that I do, including the one that won, means a lot. It's a lot to me because I've learned a lot from my parents.
Was there a moment during the making of the piece that you've submitted for this year's market Best of Show, especially powerful or emotional for you as you started to create it?
Yes, because my father, who I lost to cancer 3 years ago, I've always think about him when I do my work. So this piece really means a lot to me because I think about him all the time.
Well, it kind of leads us to the next question: is how does this piece connect to your heritage or to your own personal story?
Well, my personal story is my father because,
Yeah.
I'm really, really close with my parents. We travel a lot. We go from east to the west coast throughout the years. So we're always close together. So doing it, my father means a lot to me, and I miss him every day.
When you started to create the piece, was there a detail about the technique or the materiality that makes the work unique upon itself?
Well, that's the challenging part for me because all the stones have their own shade.
Mm-hmm.
So when I think about a project that I want to do, I try to keep it that way. But like I said, the stones have their own creativity in them. Because when you grind them down, it always ends up a different shade of color.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you have like an example of something that happened where you really had to like figure out how to get past an issue to really bring it together? Was there a bit of
Yeah, when I
challenge?
run out of material.
Okay.
Yeah, I always have to make sure I have enough material because it does take a lot of work in it.
Yeah.
Well, how does the piece speak to your community or your traditions as a Native American Indigenous artist?
What was the question again?
How does the piece speak to your community or traditions as a Native American artist?
With tradition at home, it's just mainly the turquoise is what we all have at home is turquoise. Yeah.
With your work, do you see it as part of like a larger conversation, and what messaging do you have for your pieces?
Well, when I'm ready to go to shows, I always talk to my pieces because they're gonna go a long ways, and make sure they always are in good health, happy spirits, and take care of the person who's ever it's gonna belong to. Yeah.
So, in creating that piece, and you mentioned, talking to the piece, does it speak to you in ways like, I want to be created in this form or that form, or change direction to what you've actually started to think about how you want to create the piece?
Yeah, it does in my dreams.
Yeah.
Sometimes I even when I'm just driving or sleeping or I think about what I want to make, and then I go to work.
And turquoise has such a different colorization. Is there one significant that you're drawn to more?
Yeah, the real bright blue.
Colors?
Yeah.
And is that more indicative to your cultural heritage, or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
So what does winning this category feel for you? Like how does it, personally, how does it touch you?
It's I was shocked because
Yeah?
there's so much great pieces that were entered, and I was shocked because I never expected it. But it means a lot to me. A lot.
What's next for you as you continue your artistic journey?
Next is just get ready for other shows that are coming up. I got to go back to work. Yeah, I'm a mother of 6, so my time is very, very limited.
Right.
So yeah, I have a 4-year-old. When I'm working, she's playing behind me. Yeah.
Having children of 6 children, do they inspire and motivate you?
Yes, they do.
Yeah. How so?
Because they always ask for stuff, and I need money.
Do you create pieces for them?
Oh, yes, I do.
Yeah.
My kids, like graduations, special ceremonies, they always wear my pieces. So they're happy to have a mom like, Mom, can I wear jewelry? Like, go ahead. Yeah. So my kids are very, very proud of me.
Well, they should be. Absolutely.
Where can our audience find your work?
I have, when we travel like west and east. So like Smithsonian, Washington, New York, the Smithsonian museums. We also go to Washington. Then there's the Heard Museum. Then there's a couple of the Audrey Museum in California. And then there's galleries in Pittsburgh that we go to, as well as Sedona in Arizona. Yeah.
I feel outshined by you a little bit. I mean, what you're wearing today is magnificent and just so beautiful. Tell us a little bit about the pieces that you're actually wearing today.
This piece is very, it means a lot to me because my mother gave me this piece when I got married. So this belongs to my mother. Or this is hers, but she gave it to me. Yeah, sorry.
And then the cuff bracelet?
And this is also my mother. She made this. It didn't fit her, so she gave it to me. So
now your mother's creations, do they inspire you as well? Or do you try to really set yourself apart as an artist, or is it kind of just melded together?
Yeah, it's just melded together because when I worked beside her for so many years, and it's like I'm happy to take on the next generation for me. So my symbol, like these ones, would be her trademark is turnover 1. So mine would be 2 for the second generation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Oh. Well, those are the questions I have.
Well, Janelle, congratulations, and thank you for taking a little time out of your day and spending with us and telling us a little bit about your story.
Thank you.
Much continued success to you.
Thanks.
Well, that's a wrap, and we'll be right back with Beyond the Art. Well, welcome back to Beyond the Art. And today we have with us Regina Free, the recipient and Best of Show winner. So congratulations.
Thank
That's
you.
amazing.
Thank you. It's unreal. It's not sunk
Do you
in
need
yet.
me to pinch you?
Yeah, maybe several times. Unreal.
So during the events today, you had talked about that this is something that you're coming into fairly recently. Could you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. I graduated from OSU, Oklahoma State University, with a Bachelor of Fine Arts degree about, I don't know, 4 or 5 months before I was going to graduate. My entire portfolio, almost all of it, got destroyed by water.
Oh no.
And so that was devastating.
Wow.
So I pivoted and I got I became a teacher. And in the process, I met my husband, and then we got married and we moved to Montana, and we loved it. Unfortunately, it was not meant to be. We just didn't work out. And so we came back to Oklahoma, started a vet clinic. I helped him, and then little ones came, and I dedicated my life to them. And then when the time came right, my husband said, do it. And so it's been about 2.5 years, and I have been going full bore. So,
I mean, the piece is just enormous,
It is.
but it's like something you see it and you just want to hold it. You want to grab a hold of it and like hug it. I mean, buffaloes are such a prolific image to Native American culture. It looks like a friend or grandpa or uncle that you just want to sit there and talk to him. How did he come to life to you in your mind while you started creating the art piece? But how did he transform also?
Well, I knew I wanted to do something that was, I knew I wanted to do him because he's culturally important. I also knew that I always try to do a very respectful rendering, but I didn't want him to seem sleepy, and I didn't want him to be so overly aggressive. I wanted him to be quietly, calmly confident and resilient, just like the Native people, our Native ancestors were resilient. And to get that, it took many head repositionings, and I had to do it without hair on him or his covering. So that was really difficult. But what I wanted to get is I want him to have his head lifted up in that wonderful prairie wind that I'm so used to,
Right.
and have him notice you, like be aware but not care. And I knew if I could get that is what I wanted. And so I thought I got it, and I move it, and I thought I got it. So after 3 or 4 head positionings, I'm like, I think this is it. But I really didn't know until I got him completely covered. And when I started getting the nose covered and started moving down to here, it was like, oh, I got it. Because I didn't want to have to cut the head again. So
Just when you spoke earlier today about the creation, the materiality that you use, I mean, it's sort of comic in a way, because you look at him and you don't think that's what he's made out of.
right.
So
That's the fun part.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about that process, and how did you come up with that to create such a significant piece of art created by things that people probably would never think about using?
Well, I took a class at a community college that's just in Kansas, in Ark City, Kansas. And I took it to do some oil painting, because I didn't really get to do a lot of that because I played softball at OSU. And so I didn't get to do a lot of extra stuff. And so I was doing some enrichment, and I kind of got talked into that class because I wanted to do a sculpture class, and they said, we don't offer 3,000 level classes. And I said, oh, okay. They said, but take it and make it a sculpture class. And so I'm like, okay. So I did. I really enjoyed that class thoroughly, but it came to the paper project, and it's like the instructor said, it is a 3D animal project, anything you want. And so that's a lot of room to move. There's like no boundaries. And so I settled on a heron, and I got to working on him. And when I got him done, he was like the size of an egret. I'm like, that's not going to do. So I get him full size, maybe a little bit larger. And when I got him done, I'm like, okay, now what do I do with him? He's done. And then I thought, well, I'll just enter him in CSAM, which is a Chickasaw, our annual meeting.
Right.
And he was so well received. I'm like, I think I can do something with this. And it ended up, that was the first piece. And then the eagle came, and then I decided to switch gears and do a mammal. And that's how he came about. So,
Were there any challenges that you've had to overcome that's really brought your pieces to life?
trying to figure out how to start, because there's not really a manual. You just kind of have to figure it out. And the heron was all paper.
Mhm.
I mean, it was all paper. But when I went to the eagle, I wanted something more dynamic. So I went to the foam, the laminate. It's like a foam sheet,
Right.
4x8 by 2-inch thick purple foam sheet. And I went to that because it's a little bit more sturdy and I can do more dynamic things and larger things too. So
How does this speak to your community or your traditions as a Chickasaw, correct?
Mhm.
How does it speak to that?
I'm trying to represent culturally significant creatures. And so I'm trying to start being reconnected back to that way of life, that thinking. I'm just trying to get a little bit of that spirit
Right.
back. Because they're, I mean, I'm sure it's been a problem with but some of us have been separated from that culture. And
Correct.
so
That
trying to get
connectivity.
it back.
Mhm.
And this is my way of kind of paying homage to those that came before me. So
For the piece that we have all seen today, what do you want people to walk away from? What's the message from this piece?
resilience as a people, really a resilience as a Native people expressed through one of the most significant creatures that they relied on. I like that feeling. And I just want him to move people.
Mhm.
I want someone to think about what it was like back then to just walk up on one of those and let him do that.
Right.
Just the feeling.
As you were creating him, was there someone, a mentor, a family member that you were kind of thinking of that after today's award, you'd like to dedicate this piece to?
My family. They're the ones that really make it possible.
Mhm.
My husband, he is the driver, the packer, the maker of the bases, and my kids. Like I said, they get a lot of frozen pizzas at the end of these things. So they make it possible. They do. So, and then my mom and dad didn't make it this time. My mom had surgery, but they're usually with us. And so it's for my family.
So as an artist, what's next?
Well, I've already pivoted to another project. I'm in development and haven't quite nailed that down yet, but
Mhm.
I can't tell you.
Will
I'm
it
keeping
be-
it a secret.
Will it be as big and impactful?
Well, it depends on which way I go.
Yeah.
If I go one way, it will be. And if I go the other way, it'll be a little bit less.
It's a mystery.
It is a mystery. Bum, 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 bum. We
Stay
don't know.
tuned.
Stay tuned. So what does winning this category at Santa Fe Indian Art Market mean to you personally?
I wish I could tell you that because it hasn't sunk in yet. Being someone that's just really been back for 2 years, it's
Right.
been a lot of growing pains. It's all happened so fast. And to even get in, I was like, oh yeah, I got in. Everyone was so excited. And they were telling me, you got to do this, this, and this. And it got overwhelming. And I had a lot of stuff to do. And then I get here and it's like, did that just happen? What just happened? And so I'm kind of atmospheric right now. So I don't really, I'll tell you tomorrow. How about that?
Give it 3 days.
Give it 3 or 4 days. I'll figure it
It'll
out.
probably sink in, like, or your way back home. Well, it's been a pleasure to have you on our show today, and thank you for stopping by. And
Thank you for having
congratulations
me.
and much continued success on your journey forward.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
so much,
you.
Regina.
Thank you.
Well, we'll be right back with Beyond the Art. Welcome back to Beyond the Art, and today we have with us Chris Youngblood and Jennifer Tafoya.
Hi.
Welcome to the show.
Hello.
Would you be able to tell us what category that you had won today?
Yep, we won category 2, which is pottery.
And what inspired the creation of this piece?
You know, we're always looking to try and get bigger and better. And I would say, you know, this was inspired kind of by Clash of the idea of dragons versus phoenixes, but we put our own spin on it and did the Vanu versus the Thunderbird.
And when you were talking about how you created the piece when you were awarded today's winning pottery, I'm sorry,
Category. Yes,
category.
yes.
Yeah.
My mind was going to 5 different places. I mean, you mentioned how it was very overlapping. It seemed like Jennifer would do one piece, Chris would do another piece, and then he kind of did the same thing at the same time. So tell me a little bit about the process and how did it came to light to actually do a piece like this and working together?
So we both do our own work.
Mhm.
And I think the first time we collaborated was
2016.
2016. We did a small collaboration we entered for at the Herd show, and we won a first on that. And then we ended up getting together in a relationship, and now we still do our own work, but we started doing more and more collaborations. And I wanted to incorporate more large scale work, and because all the early collaborations were small, under 6 inches, and I thought it would be cool if we kind of push the boundary and see what we could do. And like this one was really cool because we were able to incorporate stuff that we probably wouldn't have been able to 5 or 6 or 7 years ago. It's taken that progress of evolving and getting better. And so what we do in our collaborations is I'll typically make the piece.
So
And
you make the form.
so I'll form the piece,
Uh-huh.
right? And then we'll get it to a certain shape, and Jen will then design the piece. And I'll have like input on what I think, but she's a lot better at designing than I am.
So Jen, when you start designing the piece, is it something that you look at the form first, or is it something that you already have in your mind of what you want to translate into a piece and tell a story?
A lot of the times it's looking at the form first, and I kind of work from there. And also I think I do is like I try to envision what I want to see on the pot before I actually draw it on there. And like on the bigger pieces, I have to actually draw on a piece of paper and get that. And then I place the paper on the pot
So
and
like
see,
an overlay? Almost?
yeah, and see if that's, you know, what I want on it, which is totally different than what I do on my own pieces, because my own pieces are a lot smaller. And so on that, I use like a China marker, and I'll actually sketch on the pot and get my idea of what I want on there.
Was there a moment during the making of this piece that really felt powerful or emotional?
For me, I remember she finished drawing on the piece, the design, and I had just gotten out of the shower, and I had a towel around me, and she's like, "Here, come look at it." So I raced in there to look at it, and I just sat down and started carving with a towel around me. And then I sat there until I finished.
Yeah, it was funny. He was like, "Hey, take a picture of me carving on this." And I was like, "Don't you want to put clothes on first?"
You might be, oh, never mind.
But I was just so excited,
Yeah,
you know,
he
like
was
it was
really
something
excited. Yeah.
when you see something like that, especially on a larger scale for us, and you can just envision where this is going to go, it becomes exhilarating for sure.
So, I mean, you're collaborating on a piece as artists that do their own pieces as well, and you're in a relationship. Do you share that information, or do you want to surprise one another?
No, everything's shared.
Yeah.
Except for coming out of the shower with a towel on.
No, right.
Yeah, I
And
think.
so, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think that probably the hardest thing about the design was the water serpent, because I was totally trying to reimagine, from the traditional designs and try to make it a little more realistic.
So when you have the completed piece, are there things that it's taken its own form because you're working with natural materials that you wish you would have done, or you just let it go because it's telling its own story?
Totally. When I'm forming the piece, you can kind of have a rough idea of the shape you want, but it's never going to be the exact shape you want. The piece will tell you, mother clay will tell you the direction in which you need to go.
And what type of clay do you usually use?
So all our clay is hand dug clay from Santa Clara.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
We process all our own clay. Everything's natural and processed by us and done traditionally.
That's a lot of work.
It is a lot.
Besides creating the piece.
But if we stop doing it that way, then, in the future, people are going to forget how to do it the traditional way.
True.
Is there something about your technique that you feel makes your work unique?
Well, I know with my sgraffito, I think what makes mine unique, besides the designs, would be probably the color. There's not a whole lot of artists that use color in their pieces. And for me, I love to go hiking. I love to go fishing. I go hunting. So I'm outdoors a lot. And so I often see veins of clay, or I'll find some little, maybe soft rocks, and I'll take them and I'll actually crush them and test them on a piece of broken pottery and see if I can use it or not. And if I can use it, I keep it. I'll go back and I'll get some more. And if I can't, then it just goes back outside.
Have there been any challenges that you've had to overcome while creating this or other pieces?
Yeah, some of them probably, I think, is the drying process.
Yeah, so sometimes we'll lose pieces that we've put hundreds of hours into. And it's like, that's why you can't get too emotionally attached to your piece until it comes out successfully, because it just breaks your heart every time they don't come out.
Now, you both have participated in SWAIA Santa Fe, Indiana market previously. What does today's award as a collaboration mean to you both?
I think it's just reaffirming that we're going the right direction, at least for me.
Yeah, I would have to agree with that.
I think because we're blending two styles, because I would just do carved work without sgraffito or color, and she would do more sgraffito and color. And the ability for us to put it together in a large scale, I don't want to speak for everyone, but it just feels like it's something that only we can do, which I like.
Is there someone, either a mentor or a family member, someone that you would dedicate this piece to?
For me, my mom, Nancy Youngblood. I wouldn't be doing pottery if it wasn't for my mom. Yeah. I grew up as a little kid. I remember I was like 4 or 5 years old at the booth, and we would go to India Market, and we'd walk out of the convention center. It was the Sweeney then. And you would come down the street, and we'd get to the curve right where our booth was, and there would be 300 people there at like 5 a.m. in the morning. And we'd wait till market started. We'd sell pieces, and she would sell out really quickly back then. And that's what I thought market was for everybody. So we would leave after 10 minutes and go home and go back to sleep. So then when I started doing pottery, I was like, oh man, that's how it is for everyone. And then you realize how hard it is to be an artist. And we've had those struggles, both of us, in our career. So it's just reaffirming that we're going the right direction. And
in creating pottery and ceramics, is there something that you want to relay to those that see your pieces, something culturally, something personal that's telling your story?
Well, I think probably I'm just trying to maybe modernize the designs maybe just a little bit. I think it kind of goes back to, because a lot of artists hundreds of years ago often put on their pieces what they saw. And so, I'm conveying, things that I see nowadays, and then just reinterpreting them, even though they are, traditional designs.
So as a team, what's next for you?
Bigger, more detail, more color. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
I envision, I'm working on my own skills to be able to do it, but I envision someday us doing a giant storage jar with just being able to tell a story on that, which would be really cool.
Fantastic. Where can our audience find your work?
We work exclusively with Charles King at King Galleries.
And then just ourselves.
Yeah, we our
Personally.
Instagram and our
Yeah.
Facebook. We do commissioned work and take orders.
Mhm.
We typically do like two shows a year, sometimes 3.
So both being artists in the same medium, what have you learned about yourselves as a Native American artist on this journey?
I think we've learned a lot of patience.
Very much patience.
As an artist or with each other? As
Both.
collaborators?
Both.
Yeah.
Both. Yeah, because we're both really strong-willed and sometimes we butt heads.
Well, yeah, it's tough because like she can't start her part of the piece till I'm done with mine and it's
Correct.
fired.
Mhm.
So, and there's times where we've had like a week left before a show, and she's like, "We need this piece, or I'm not going to be able to do my best work."
Mhm.
And I understand that. And in terms of what I've learned, I think, just kind of carrying on the torch that I felt like was passed to us from my mom and the previous generations, and trying to honor them by continuing to do it the traditional way and not take shortcuts. I think that's very important.
Anything else?
Well,
You got?
Yeah, just any final thoughts for our audience?
Thank you for watching. I think this is the best representation of our work so far, and we look forward to showing the next iteration of that.
Yeah.
Well, it's a beautiful piece, and congratulations. It's well deserved. So
Thank you.
much
Thank
continued
you.
success to you together and also separately as you go on.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming in today.
Absolutely.
Well, beyond
Is this live?
it's long. On behalf of Beyond the Art, SWAIA, the Georgia O'Keeffe Museum, the many jurors and the many artists in the artist community, and all those who believe in transformative power of Native American art, we congratulate every artist that participated in today's platform.
Your work continues the story of Indigenous creativity, timeless, evolving, and boundless. We look forward to seeing how these stories grow in the years to come. Congratulations to the Best of Show and category winners.
So this has been Beyond the Art. And again, thank you to SWAIA and the Georgia O'Keeffe Museum. Until next time, we'll see you soon.